Hey guys, so if y'all have been following my stream recently, you'll probably know that I recently pushed up a DI Shadowhunter. Now, it's not quite at an alt level yet for gold earners, it's only a 1560 at the moment, but it is 5x3x1, and it is a class that I intend on continuing to play to see how I feel about it. Now, why am I pushing a DI Shadowhunter? Well, first off, this has always been a class that I've loved from day one. Maybe only one of you guys might know this, maybe none of you all, but I actually used to play DI Shadowhunter as my main way back in the day before Lost Ark even came out. I played it in the Japan server, I played it in all the betas, it was my favorite class from day one. And because of that, I've always been trying to find an excuse to bring it back into play. Now, as y'all know, recently Shadowhunter got buffed, and by quite a bit. And if you had watched my last video about the balance patch in Korea, you'll know that we actually took a look at some numbers where DI Shadowhunter was actually outperforming the perfect suppression Shadowhunter. And as a result, we are in this situation now where this cheap 2-gem class, right? This 2-gem class, I don't have level 10s yet, but this 2-gem class is outperforming its multiple damage gem counterpart. And I think that because of this, Shadowhunter might be one of the next classes that becomes a super viable and affordable option to playing a relatively strong class. So how strong is this class, right? Well, let's take a look at some of these meter kind of data. So we look at the meter data, right? We're sorting my median right now. This is Vescal, this is Bat. Perfect. So Shadowhunter, DI Shadowhunter is fairly low. It's not like the lowest thing, but it's like, lower than average. So right over here. But if you look at Perfect Suppression, it is actually pretty close to the top. It's not that bad. And DI Shadowhunter, if it is actually going to be stronger than Perfect Suppression, it could be a top contender for DPS in Vescal. That is actually insane, right? We've always considered DI Shadowhunter to be a pretty low ceiling class, but for this situation, Shadowhunter could overtake Perfect Suppression and be one of the top classes. And here's the thing, right? This is a median chart, not looking at maxes, right? We can look at maxes right here, and DI Shadowhunter and Perfect Suppression are gonna be a little bit lower, right? So we are back at Vescal here, and we're gonna take a look at where DI is. DI is lower right here, and then Perfect Suppression is right here. But again, I think it's important to more look at the average performance, the median performance, because that's kind of on average how well people perform. And here's the other thing too. You might say, oh, I don't know if DI Shadowhunter will reach this level, right? Well, since this is a median chart, this is kind of how much damage people on average. And I would say it's probably easier to play Shadowhunter and reach even like closer to its ceiling compared to a Perfect Suppression build, right? So in that sense, it's probably going to be performing at the same level or even better than that in the future. So this is just Vescal, right? We can scroll down here. Frog, Perfect Suppression, again, an above average class. It's pretty close to the top. I'm going to skip these two. I'm going to go to Hard, Thamine, Gate 1. Perfect Suppression, pretty dang high up there again. Like, it is consistently performing pretty dang well in these gates. Look right here, Perfect Suppression right there. A little bit above average. Gate 3, Perfect Suppression, I think is fairly high right here, above average again. So we are having this class where it's a 2 damage gem class, potentially outperforming a multiple damage gem class. And I think that in itself is worth taking a look at and worth potentially thinking about putting in your roster. I think that Shadowhunter is a very straightforward class, especially DI, and it becomes a fairly easy to play, a fairly easy to kind of bring closer to the ceiling compared to a lot of other classes. So because of that, I am going to be trying out making a DI Shadowhunter and letting y'all know what I think about it. I think this class is not the most popular class at the moment, but still, I think there's quite a few people who play it because of the kind of the transform nature of it, and a lot of people are interested in it because of that. So I'm going to try it out and let y'all know how this class plays at the moment. And I think that even before the buffs, it is actually not a bad class. I think it is a decently well-performing class that people just need to learn how to play to its maximum. I'll let y'all know how it is. I'll let you know how I feel about it. But I think that potentially DI Shadowhunter might be a class that pops up in the meta quite a bit going forward. It's going to be an easy to play alternative. It's tanky, it's consistent, and it brings a good bit of utility as well with its stagger, destruction, counters, things like that, right? Everything's on a pretty low cooldown there, and I think that because of that, this might be a contender for one of the best classes in the future that I would recommend. Again, I don't know, not yet at least, how it is and how it's going to be in the next patch, but I do predict that Shadowhunter and maybe even Scouter might be one of the meta classes going forward. Again, it's not going to be at the tippy top, but I think it'll be a nice above average A tier damaging class, and I think that that is a really good place to be, especially again for a 2 damage gem class that has no real investment into tripods. Additionally, this is very reminiscent of another class in the game that is very strong, Reaper. Reaper had gotten buffs after buffs after buffs, now all very incremental buffs, and eventually got to a point where it was decently strong, and then they completely reworked the class, and it's now a top tier DPS. So that's about it. I think that this class is going to be the future, and y'all should think about it as well. Alright guys, let me know down in the comment section below if you play DI Shadowhunter and what you think about the class at the moment, and are you thinking about potentially picking it up in the future given the recent buffs? And as per usual, if y'all enjoyed the video, please remember to hit the like button, hit the sub button, ring the bell for notifications, and also I stream every single night on twitch.tv/MisoxShiru starting at 10 p.m. PST. So hopefully I see y'all there. If not, hopefully I see you guys on the next video. Alright guys, peace out.